Good afternoon, friends and traders. I am Dan Hodgman, and welcome to the Market Recap. It is Monday, March 29th. I hope you guys have all had a great day so far. We got some good opportunities. Markets are coming to some of the levels we like to talk about, and in areas that we're looking for opportunity pretty consistently. So I hope you've all been able to take advantage of those. Crude oil opened up this morning, made it look like it wanted to look lower, but could not make a new low on our directional move, and rallied right back up towards Friday's high, I should say. Today is Monday, so not yesterday. Friday's high and the overnight high right before the open. So good opportunity there of looking where to exit a trade. Next, S&P 500 kind of fell in a little bit of a pattern off the open. Finally took off and has been struggling to get back up above settlement price. And it looks like it's going to fail to get up there today. But we're working our way pretty darn close to those new highs. The NASDAQ, similar. Rejection quite a bit up at settlement price. We tested it prior to market open. Broke back down. Checked the overnight low. Rallied right back up. Checked settlement price. Broke back down once again. And we're right back at settlement price. Gold sinking fast and hard. We saw yields are spiking once again, 10-year well above 1.7 pretty comfortably right now. So it's sending both gold and the 10-year note and treasuries down with it. And then the euro really falling into a bit of a pattern. We opened up. We rallied to settlement price. We broke off the settlement price right back to overnight low. And we attempted to get back to settles, could not get there. And we fell right back to that overnight low, which is right where we're trading right now. So when I say looking at settlement price, when I say looking at overnight highs and lows, prior day highs and lows, I can't stress it enough. Trading can be done pretty simply. We look for opportunities at significant levels. We place some strength into the levels that we look at. We continue to look at it with the same lens. And we try to utilize those opportunities to make some money in these markets. And we can do that by executing pretty lightly. A couple trades a day. Sit back. Relax. Don't stress. Trade those levels that we know work for us on a consistent basis. And we know it's consistent because we talk about it so much. That's how I approach trading. I try to keep things as simple as possible. Execute consistent. Look at the market the same lens. Find the levels that really do work for me and for a day trading time frame. Utilizing just the past couple days of information really helped me execute on what I'm looking for. Obviously, we get directional moves. If we're looking at a directional move, we open up our eyes a little bit. We try and get an idea of where this market is going overall. And how do we trade to that direction? Well, we don't want to get in on the low side if it's going down, or we don't want to get in on the high side if it's going higher. So we start to look at the markets in a different lens. And that's the big thing I can't stress here enough today. Utilize these levels. Give some validity to the levels that you're looking at. Determine, is this going to be a strong level for me? Is this a place that I'm going to look to execute right away? Is this a place I'm going to start to watch and see how this market's reacting before I execute? You guys know me. I'm always looking for something to or away from settlement price. It's always my first look each and every day. From there, I'm looking at those overnight highs. I'm looking at those overnight lows if we're still within the range. If I'm kind of extending outside of that, am I in yesterday's range? If I'm in that range, what am I looking at in there? Value areas, they're beneficial. The swing highs, extremely beneficial. If we're looking at a directional market, crude oil, prime example, has been directional here the last few days, creeping higher. Well, if the market's going higher and we continue to make higher lows, those are kind of the areas we want to start to look to get in. If we're starting to find that market catching, that to us is a signal to go ahead and try and get in on that opportunity. So those are just a couple of things to be looking at pretty consistently. And as I stress all the time, we'll continue to talk about them and take a look at those things. All right, so going on in the world right now. I think the big talk, CDC chief is warning, and this is her words, not mine, impending doom as COVID cases rise again. Well, we know there are variants, and we've heard a lot about them throughout Europe and the EU. And they're starting to come across the pond over here. We're starting to see some economies opening up. We're starting to see people get back out. We're starting to see weather get a little bit nicer. And so we're starting to see these cases rise. As of Friday, hospitalizations are up 4.2% to 4,800 people per day. That's the daily average as of Friday. So we're continuing to see these numbers rise. But we do have the vaccine out, and President Biden is saying all American adults should be eligible by April 19th, or at least 90% should be. I know here in Wisconsin, anyone 16 and older is going to be eligible on May 1st. So we're getting there. We'll see how things work with the variants that are out and things of that nature. I'm no expert here, so I'll just continue to pay attention, do my research, listen to those that are smarter than I am, and kind of go with that one. Other than that, we do note the ship has been unstuck from the Suez Canal. So we have shipping lanes through that Suez Canal. That's a big one right there. As of the other day, we were hearing it could be a couple weeks. So glad to see they got that out. Going to probably force you to drink a cup of coffee now before any captain has to navigate through that one. Obviously, I don't know the actual circumstances there. All I can say is glad they've got that done, and shipping lanes can open back up. We already know it's been a rough year for any sort of shipping, so it'll be good to see them getting things moving, getting product around the world. It's obviously something very necessary. As we all know, every country relies on imports in some facet as well as exports. So every country is 100% reliant on some sort of export or import, and most are done through the shipping world. And then, like I said, bonds, notes, yields are up. Yields are up pretty heavily here. 5 basis points up to 1.712. The 10-year note, or excuse me, the 30-year is up to 2.41. For perspective, before I came to Top Step, I used to trade the spread on yields pretty heavily, and that was about 5 years ago. And I still tend to dabble in this, but just for perspective, about 5 years ago, the 30-year was well over that 3%, and the 10-year was well over 2%. So personally not stressing too much about this. We're seeing gold, we're seeing treasuries kind of dip south. No surprise there. All right, let's go ahead, take a look at these markets here and see what we've got going on. As always, we're starting with that 30-minute in the crude oil. And like I was mentioning, when a market has shown some direction over time, here's our low. A little bit of a higher low, but nonetheless a higher low. Another higher low. Another higher low. And here during the regular trading hours, this to me was our opportunity. We saw weakness in the sellers. It was pretty apparent. We saw the market starting to catch. It finally showed that true catch, obviously right above $60 here. And to me, right here around 10 o'clock was really the opportunity. It showed that little bit of weakness, continued to make a higher low on that shorter time frame. And that, to me, is where our opportunity is. Well, where do we look to see this market go? That's our big question. Well, let's just say we're getting in right, we're going to call it right here at 60.40. Let's say we get in at 60.40. We're putting our stop. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of room. Obviously, if we start pressing lower, we start to make some new lows in here, okay, that's going to give us an idea. So we want to maybe bring this down to a lower time frame to try and help us understand. But truthfully, I'm looking at this in a trade like that. I'm going to give myself a little bit of room because I do have some direction to the upside. I do have quite a bit of direction to the upside. I'm not looking at value area low. I watched how quickly that market moved through it off the open. That's telling me I'm going to expect the similar reaction going higher. So I'm going to look up towards point of control from the other day. That's 65 points or 65 cents. It's kind of where I'm going to start to look for this market to get to. In doing that, I have a little bit of a room on the downside. Am I going to risk 30 cents? Probably not going to put 30 cents in that trade. That gets me all the way down here to 60.10. I'm not probably going to give myself that much. I'm going to probably bring it up to 20 cents right to this light volume area. I'm going to say, look, that's where I'm going to put my stop. I've got enough volume that's traded between my entry point and my stop here. Got a little bit of room there, and that's where I'm going to be looking, and I'm going to look to run this trade right up to point of control. One way of looking at it. Second, we talk a lot about prior day highs. We can look to see this thing maybe run all the way up to 61.37. Right here is where our prior day high. Are we thinking possibly prior overnight high, 61.77? Well, we can look up there. We just have to start to recognize where this market is tapering off. And it really has started to taper off right here at this 61.50. So there's just a couple ways of looking at this market. Next, let's go ahead and look at the S&P 500. Well, we opened up this morning and we had settlement price down or up or over here, I should say, should be clear, over here at 39.64 and 3/4. I do not have it on my chart here. I got a little waylaid throughout my day and did not get them drawn on for us. So the market opened up far away. And as I stress pretty regularly, I'm looking for this market. When a market opens up away from settlement, the first thing I'm looking for is what's it going to take to see this market move itself right to settlement price. It's always the first look I'm looking for. I'm not executing it on it every day. Sometimes that market's just too far away and wants to continue in a direction. Well, for me, I start to recognize here, once again, we're not making lower lows. Our lows are higher. That's telling me that's a sign that maybe this thing wants to continue. I'm looking for opportunity there. That's where I'm looking for these markets to move back towards that settlement price. So that was our opportunity here today. Next, let's go ahead and look over at the NASDAQ, which really, for me, sets up nicely utilizing our overnight highs and lows. We opened up. We came and checked that overnight low. Still not all the way as low, so technically a higher low, just slightly, not a ton, about 10 points, give or take. But nonetheless, we check that overnight low. Always an opportunity for me. And notice where that overnight low lies, right at point of control from Friday. To me, this is an extremely well set trade. We're checking overnight lows, which are at point of control. We have 2 points of validation here on a level that we like to talk about. To me, it's hard not to get in on a trade like this. Where do we run this thing to? That's our next question. While we're able to manage our risk really well here, are we looking all the way up at settlement price at 12,966? I don't know. I think that's a pretty valid spot to be looking at as well. Overnight high, settlement price. That's what I'm going to be looking at. To me, that was a great opportunity for a trade today. Next, we'll look at gold, which, like I said, gold took that downside move pretty fast off the open. But I'm going back to areas that we've talked about for the last week and a half, almost 2 weeks now. Right here. 1,723. We held up there off the open. Started to hold up. We saw yields were rising. We've got equities moving higher. Gold showing that it wants to continue lower. Here's our great opportunity. Now, if you don't get in on this trade, it's a little bit more difficult catching this bottom down here, trying to determine what to trade in this area. So if you miss that initial move, I think it's okay to sit on your hands the rest of the day, because this, to me, is some chop. This is not easy trade here. We got directional. We had that fast, abrupt move, and it was hard to trade once it stabled out. Next, let's go over here. Look at the euro, which really has just continuously found support down here at 117.81. Every time the market came down here, we have a great buy opportunity to run it towards yesterday's levels, Friday's levels, value area low to point of control. Great opportunity for me. That's what I was looking at here today. I'm going to continue to watch this price right where we're sitting right now. To me, this is an area to look for opportunity. Eventually, it's going to probably have to spill over, right? Well, when will that be? Couldn't tell you right now. The market will dictate that for us, but that's what I'm going to be watching for. I'm going to be looking for this market, this level to finally give up. It's like a boxer. I use this example a lot. How many times can that boxer take that punch until it spills over and takes that tumble? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attempts at this price right now. And like I said, it's continuing to stand strong. Eventually, this might have to spill over if it doesn't get directional to the upside. If we start to see direction to the upside, then hey, it's a good level, great opportunity. But if we continue to check this level, we're going to continue to find opportunity. And lastly, let's go ahead and look at the 10-year note. Like I said, really spilling over, yields taking the rise. We saw the same thing in the gold market as it opened up. Where do we look? Well, here to me was our opportunity. We pulled back to yesterday's or overnight low right here. Last night, overnight low. Market bounced or pulled back to that overnight low, and that to me is our opportunity to get on a directional trade. May have missed the initial. It gave us another chance. And that's what we're looking at here. So some good opportunities across the board. I hope you guys have all had a good day. Do want to say hello to everyone. Murph, good to see you. I hope you had a great day as well. Felix, Bill, Cal's, level 2, Brian, Murph, big number, 13,000 plus settlement in the same area as the NASDAQ was a great opportunity spot today. Great catch there. I couldn't agree more. We saw a lot of opportunities right at that settlement price, just below that 13,000 mark. You guys know that BFRM, big fat round numbers, tend to be great areas for opportunity. Level 2, played a lot of video games today. Lovely inside day. Absolutely, you know me. I love my inside days. Good opportunities. Those are the days I'm looking for some good trades. I'm going to be a little bit more active. I don't play video games, but always got the Netflix on, some Candy Crush. Andres, good to see you. James, Dave, good to see you. Isaac hit a personal record in my funded account for largest single trade and profit. Wrote out an incredible position from value high of the previous session. Hit my trailing stop today around today's point of control. Outstanding, Isaac. Love to hear that stuff. And Profiton, good to see you as well. All right, guys. So it is Monday. Got a shortened week, but still a long week ahead of us. Oh, Dave, great day. Took a perfect short at 1,300 NQ. Went over 53. Nice work. Love to hear that. Great area to take the short. A lot of opportunity to the downside there. I love seeing these trades coming in. Great job today, everybody. The real one, good to see you. Yes, the cough has started to subside. Tanya, I think, sent me an article about it and basically saying a lot of people are noting that they have a cough for about 60 days once they have COVID. And I don't think I'm 60 days post, but I still have a couple here and there, but nothing like it was a couple weeks ago. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot. All right, as you guys know, Bitcoin is one of our watchers. We're long $34,000. We got 20,000 in that, 54,060 bucks there. We'll take a look at our other moneymaker, which is Airbnb. We're long 148s. And we're trading 182s right now. So we got a nice little pop here today, up about $8. So that's a good day for us when it comes to Airbnb. Speaking of all these stocks that we look at, Tesla continues to really just hold around that 600 mark. Opened up at 615, broke down to 600, and now we're sitting at 611. And then lastly, GameStop, just because it's fun to watch. It created a tizzy a month and a half ago and continues to be a wild stock to be watching. $181 there. And lastly, as we continue to look at the VIX, pretty quiet day here today. We saw a little bit of spike on the break when it comes to the equities, but as soon as we picked back up, market got back to the upside, we fell right back into that 20-point range. So we're 20.8 right now. Tomorrow, consumer confidence, 9 a.m. Central Time. And then nothing too major after that one. And then don't forget, Friday is the unemployment number. But markets closed on Friday. Some are open till noon, but I believe I don't have the actual hours on hand right now. But I think majority are. Actually, no, I take that back. I think equities close at 8:15 on Friday morning. I think everything is closed. All I can sit here and say is, don't trade Friday. Trade this week. Don't even bother waking up Friday morning unless you enjoy watching the unemployment number to show up on the television. That's what I got there. And then lastly, this date in history. In this date, March 29th, 1973, the U.S. withdrew from Vietnam. And I think I had one or two more. Oh, this one was kind of cool. A year after that, 1974, the U.S. space probe Mariner visited Mercury. The unmanned U.S. space probe Mariner 10 was launched by NASA in 73 and becomes the first spacecraft to visit the planet Mercury, sending back some close-up images. You know, it makes me interested. I haven't seen these pictures, or maybe I have and I don't recollect it. But imagine if we had a camera there now, 2021, how great those pictures would be compared to 1974. And then lastly, 1929, Herbert Hoover had the first ever phone installed in the Oval Office. Pretty crazy. Almost 100 years ago, we had our first phone in the Oval Office, and now, well, it's all done on cell phone. Pretty spectacular. All right, guys, that's what I got for us here today. Don't forget, John will be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central Time with the market forecast. And then we'll have Coach's Playbook tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. We're going to kind of talk about what gets us into this industry. I'm kind of excited. You're going to hear a little bit about all of our stories and kind of talk to you guys and want to hear some of your input. So make sure you guys join us tomorrow morning, 11:30 a.m. Central Time. And, of course, as always, Hogue at 8 a.m. Central Time. Brain fart there. Until then, you guys stay safe, wash your hands, trade smart, and trade well. I look forward to seeing you guys in the markets. Take care, everybody.